Hey guys, welcome to Series World. Today I'm going to explain a romance drama series called Maxton Hall from 2024. Turn on subtitles and spoilers ahead. The second episode opens with a flashback of little James and his father playing chess. Even though James thinks that he has the winning hand, his father manages to make him make a mistake, and James ultimately loses. His father then gives him advice on how to dominate people for his own benefit, especially as a son of this family. He can't lose in any competition. Not in games or in real life. At present, James has gotten ready to go to school with his sister. He's in a good mood, but that can't be said about his sister, Lydia. In the committee meeting, everyone is hyped up about the donor gala and wants to make it perfect this time. James is not present at the meeting, and everyone in the committee seems to be pleased about it. Instead, James is at lacrosse practice with his teammates, but the coach comes and tells him that he's off the field. When James tries to use his power of money and status to influence the coach informs him that the decision of suspension came from his father, not the headmaster. Back at the meeting, Kieran is proposing his idea for the party theme. He is thinking about a black and white themed party. Everyone is skeptical about this theme, but Ruby doesn't let Kieran's feelings get hurt. James, however, gladly does the job after coming to the meeting late. He tells Kieran that the idea is a joke and they should hold a Victorian-themed party instead. Ruby gets confused after hearing this because his idea does sound kind of amazing. So Ruby decides to take votes from the members on both ideas, and everyone raises their hand for the Victorian theme. Ruby can't do anything after James's overwhelming victory. James also draws a new poster for the party where a woman will be dressed in a Victorian dress, and multiple things will also be collaged according to the theme. After the meeting is over, Lynn comes up to Ruby and suggests they talk with James about the costume for the poster shoot, because his father's company owns multiple luxurious Victorian wardrobe collections. They play toss to decide who will talk about this with James, and unfortunately, or fortunately, Ruby is the one who has to do the job. Ruby waits for him after class to talk. James confirms that his family does have quite a few expensive Victorian collections, but he refuses to help Ruby in any way. After coming back home, Ruby is talking about this with her fashion designer sister, Ember. She's confused about what to do, but then she remembers that Ember can make a costume for them. However, it's hard for even Ember to make a dress within 2 days. Ruby understands and goes back to photographing Ember in her newly designed dress. But in the middle of the photo shoot, Ember tells her that she will make a dress for Ruby using an old dress as a base because there's no way she can decline her dear sister's request. They pull an all-nighter and start making the dress. In the morning, James is seen jogging with his dad. His dad suggests that they race to the bench. James tries his best, but his dad wins. They then sit down on the bench to have a chat. James requests him to talk to the headmaster because he wants to get back on the field. But his dad is adamant in his decision and tells him to focus on the upcoming investors' reception. He will be the main star as the young face of Beaufort. Even though James keeps on requesting, his dad's decision doesn't change. Meanwhile, the two sisters' work is also going smoothly. It can be said that they're thoroughly enjoying the process. Finally, the day of the investors' reception arrives. Everyone is dressed up properly and seated at the dining table. James's mom goes to the front and gives a speech. Her great-great-great-grandfather started the Beaufort business with just a single sewing machine, but now it's a grand, luxurious clothing brand that makes clothes for the elites. It was a family business until now. Today it will change because she will hand down her business to her son, James, and they're also inviting investors to join them in this great adventure. James then gets up and delivers a perfect speech too. His father is also pleased with his performance. Meanwhile, Ember is done with the dress. Ruby wakes up from her sleep and is ecstatic to see the dress. Ember tells her to iron the dress because she can't keep her eyes open anymore. The scene changes back to James, who has stepped out of the party for some fresh air. He checks the message in the committee group, and Ruby has sent a picture of the dress. She also makes it clear that James had no contribution to the dress. James reminds her through text that it was his idea, but he does mention that her seamstress did a good job. Ruby was ironing the dress when she gets distracted by the texts. While she's reading the texts, the dress catches on fire from the iron. By the time she notices, it's too late. Her sister enters the room, and Ruby is in tears, holding the dress with a gaping hole in it. Ember is at first a bit upset, but she soon lightens the mood. Ruby also joins in, laughing and sobbing. The scene cuts to the school. James, Ruby, Lynn, and others are in class. A new teacher called Ms. Philippa enters the class. Two boys start chatting and smirking about this female teacher. One of them even tries to flirt. So when the teacher passes out the study material to the students, she asks one of those boys to read the questions. Everyone gives their opinion on the question because the teacher has told them to discuss among themselves. At first, it seems to be a friendly discussion, but soon Ruby and James start bickering with each other, and Ruby says quite a few harsh things to James. James leaves the room upset and furious. The scene cuts to Mr. Sutton, who is meeting with Lydia in a coffee house. He finally tells Lydia that they can't continue their relationship like this. Even though Ruby won't say anything, their relationship will come out one day anyway. Plus, her parents will never approve of their daughter's teacher as a son-in-law or her boyfriend. Lydia tells him that her father doesn't care about her, but Sutton doesn't think so because Lydia was the one who proposed the new idea that they launched. And being the type of businessman her father is, he won't let a talent like her go. Lydia doesn't see his point and leaves, upset. The scene cuts to James and his friend partying in his apartment. They're drinking and dancing. James notices Alistair, who's on the couch glued to his phone. James asks him whether something's wrong, and Alistair tells him that his boyfriend has been acting weird and he's trying to find someone new. Alistair then pokes fun at James for what happened between him and Ruby in class. James doesn't reply and sits down beside him. Meanwhile, Ruby is on her laptop, and she's also sad about something. Her father comes and asks her whether something's wrong. Ruby asks him what she should do if she hurts someone so badly that they leave the room. She can't seem to forgive herself. Her father assures her that people make mistakes and that doesn't make them bad persons, so she should focus on apologizing to them and trying to make things right. Ruby takes her dad's advice, and in the morning, she goes to the practice field to talk with James. James is doing some warm-ups on the field alone. He notices her and asks whether she has come to remind him that he's off the field. But Ruby expresses to him how sorry she is, and that she shouldn't have done what she did. James understands and asks about how the poster is going. Ruby becomes sad and tells him that it burned. James is confused, but Ruby repeats that the dress burned and now they have to manage somehow. But Ruby does give James's credit for coming up with the idea of a Victorian-themed party. Ruby then leaves the field. They seem to have made up now. The scene cuts to James drawing a sketch of Ruby, and he keeps getting flashbacks of her. His dad comes up to him and he quickly shuts the sketchbook. James's dad invites him to join him to play hockey as they have a player shortage. Lydia is working out beside them, so she comes up to them after hearing this. She asks whether she can help them as a player too, but her dad declines her proposal and tells her next time. James and his dad head to the hockey field. There, they meet two other players from the Ellington family. The daughter, Elaine, is also there. The Ellington family is their final investor, so they really need to win them over, and most of the responsibilities fall on James because Elaine is interested in him. Today is his chance to win her and her family over. Elaine comes up to James and gives him a passionate kiss on the cheek. She also greets his dad. While playing, James realizes that it's not always about winning in life, like his dad has taught him. Sometimes a draw can be a better option than winning. Meanwhile, Ruby is watching a wildlife documentary with her family. James texts her, saying that he can show her a few collections in London that they have. Ruby can't believe her eyes, but James is serious about it, so they continue. Ruby goes to her room for privacy, and her sister is a little bit suspicious. The conversation continues, and James informs her that they're leaving to see the collections now. Ruby is confused. How can they leave now? James is smirking in his car. Ruby jumps up from her bed and peeks through the window, and she sees that James's car is waiting for her outside their house, and that's how today's episode ends. To watch more explanations of these kinds of series, click on the videos on your screen. And don't forget to let me know how you feel about today's video in the comments down below. And at last, thanks for watching.